Good morning, good morning, good morning. Buenos dias, mi gente. Yo. Welcome to Daily Discipline number 450. My name's Rob. Happy that you're here. Honored and humbled that you keep coming back like for reals. Hey, it is a thankful Thursday. It's January the 9th. It's a work day and it's time to get to work, so let's do this. My apologies for my tardiness. I had an early morning meeting. I intended to immediately do my daily discipline after this, and literally I was just busy and I forgot about it until a few minutes ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go do this right now. So better late than never, but my apologies. We'll do better tomorrow. Moving on. First things first, I'm still the realist. I'm also a mentor. Yeah. You're a mentor when people call and ask for your advice. When people say, hey, I look up to you and I'd like to know what you think I should do in this situation. And while personally, with my own head trash, I wonder why somebody would want my opinion on things. Doesn't matter. Just take it. Take the stroke. And when you need to get yourself out of the ditch, look at your IMs like, yeah, people view me as a mentor. That means I know something about something. My thought of the day, we briefly touched on this yesterday. It's the concept of the representative. So this is the first episode on the representative. I don't know how many we're going to do, but this is what I want to talk about right now. And what got me thinking about this is that there were a couple very questionable hires in the NFL where people like scratching their head like, why would they hire that person? And it's always the same thing. We were blown away with the interview. Like, what are you, an idiot? Who can't behave for a couple of hours? Who can't tell you what you want to hear the first time they meet you? And so it's a reminder that the reason sports matter is because they're a microcosm of life, meaning that just because we get duped by people doesn't mean people who aren't significantly more successful in business, who've worked their way to a point where they can buy a professional sports team, they don't get fooled too. And unfortunately, they're not smart enough to realize they've been duped, right? Yeah. And so this concept, I learned this from a former girl that I used to date. And I was like, wow, that actually makes sense. And she had learned it from a former boyfriend of hers. So this has been recycled a couple times. So I don't even know who I would give credit to. Let's just keep it between ourselves, right? But here's the concept. When you first meet somebody, whether that's on a job interview, a sales call, meeting a new neighbor, you're at a happy hour, you're at a business luncheon, a networking function, a first date, whatever it is, when you first meet somebody, nobody ever starts out with the bad news, right? So on a sales call, I'm a person who makes their living going out and trying to find companies that want to do business with my company. I don't start out the conversation like, okay, let's get the bad news out first. We operate in silos sometimes. We want to charge a lot more than we're actually worth. We'll ride your ass about paying us, but you're going to have to ride our ass to get things done, especially if you're not going to pay us more to do that. We're kind of bureaucratic. Our executives are a little disengaged at times. No, nobody ever goes. They go, oh my God, our service is amazing. We've never lost a customer. Bunch of bullshit, right? Just like what we do when we meet somebody. It's aspirational what we tell them, right? Like, oh, I'm this, I volunteer, and I tithe, and I do this, and I'm generous, blah. And it's all the things we want to be, not who we really are. And you know what happens? If you tell people who you really are at the beginning, they run. They're like, oh my God, because they're so used to people telling them one version, and then it only gets worse from there, right? The further you go from that first conversation into where you come to the realization, like, that's not what they told me when I met them. The further, probably the greater the delta. And so here's the good news. Good news is you're not alone, right? That you've not been duped by. It's such an issue that Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book about it that I listen to on my audio books. It's called Talking with Strangers. And it's this concept that our default is, oh, people wouldn't lie to me. Like when I first meet somebody, they're going to tell me the truth. They lie to you all the time. They're presenting themselves as a version of themselves that does not exist. It's the aspirational. It's the person that they want to be, that they hope they become. This was on my, I talked about it yesterday. So it wasn't like I heard something today that made me think of this. But as this was on, or as I was going through my day, I always have some sports talk radio over there. And they're talking about, Mike McCarthy, who got hired by the Cowboys, that he was like, oh, I've admired Dak Prescott for a long time. What did you think he was going to say? Like, hey, that Dak Prescott, he doesn't hold a candle to Aaron Rodgers. I'll do the best I can with that guy, but he's not. Well, hell no, he's not going to say that. He's going to say whatever he's got to say to get that damn job, right? Just like a guy that's on a date with a girl that he really wants to have a relationship with, he's going to say whatever he's got to say to get her to agree to the next date, right? And you go down the list, right? Like the biggest, like Bernie Madoff, he never told everybody, like, look, I want you to invest that money with me because I need it to cover because I got some other people wanting their money out and I spent their money on like drugs and hookers and whatever else he spent his money on, right? Like that's not how it works, right? So it's not all doom and gloom, right? The good news is that it's such an issue with the way that we behave as human beings that people write books about this, like Malcolm Gladwell, who is like a huge author, and I just started listening to his book, a few weeks ago, talked about it on here. It's called Talking with Strangers, that we default to, oh my gosh, everybody, because we were taught as children, tell the truth. Those are the words that we tell our kids, tell the truth. But then we teach them, like, if it's bad news, don't, if it hurts, you might not want to say that, right? Well, then as humans, we're like, okay, if I tell people all of the bad things about me when I first meet them, they're not going to want to hang out with me. So I tell them who I want to be in hopes that I can actually deliver on that promise and they'll want to stay forever, right? Vicious cycle. So just know that, right? Just know that. And I struggle with, when you're meeting people for the first time, I try not to tell people that are things that aren't true, but I also don't tell them all the negatives either, right? Just keep it pretty vanilla, right? Like, I don't think we need to, I don't know what the answer is. Just know that the other person, that if they don't, maybe ask about, hey, do you know the theory of the representative when you first meet somebody, and then just see what they have to say. Then you have the conversation about that. And then you tell them, then they're like, okay, so if we're just going to do representatives, well, let me tell you who I am. And then you can say whatever you want. I don't know. That's on you. But just know that this stuff happens often. And I believe it happened to Jerry Jones. I believe it happened to the New York Football Giants and some other people where you're like, why would they hire that person? Because they believed everything somebody told them when they were trying to get a damn job. Unreal that people that are at that level can't figure that out. That's their problem, not ours. I got to go. Hands up, peace out, we're better together. Sam's got a scrimmage tonight, so I will have an update on that tomorrow. And is there anything else? Yeah, that's all I got for now. All right. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Deuces. Love you. Bye.